It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over and talking about our top 10 as centers not behind gambling in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. So, similar to the power forward list, guys, all of these top cards are not going to be featured. So, like Tim Duncan, Tim with Patty Mills base, not going to be featured. The 100 overall Yao, who obviously if you've got, not going to be featured. Even the Dark Matter Wembanyama, like even when I load up and play the game, I feel like nearly everybody has Wemby. He's not going to be featured either. So all of these cards behind gambling aren't going to be featured. So it kind of makes this thing tough to do, especially when like Hakeem and Wilt Chamberlain, I am going to put on here. Why? Well, they were available for free for a certain amount of time, and also they you could get them in the pack market for like a set price. So it's kind of tough on what cards to include, what cards not to include. But I think, if I start including the gambling cards on here, you're basically going to get all 100 overalls. And then even at the Dark Matters, you're not even going to get to a card like Artis, who I think is absolutely elite. So we'll start off at number 10. At number 10, this card I don't necessarily love, but I think he's fine. Domantas Sabonis, what is he? 7-1 in game, has a high three ball, can stretch the court decently well. I will say defensively, Artis isn't necessarily, going to be the best, center in the game. But on the offensive end of the court, with his height, he can absolutely compete. Let's pull them up here so I can talk about it a little bit more. The thing I don't love about Artis, the 85 speed. I think that's one of the things that bugs me the most. And then just his defense in general. Obviously not great. Rebounding, he's fine. Box out beast does come a Hall of Fame rebound chaser as well, so should be able to get you a lot of those rebounds. But defensive specifically, not great for Domantas Sabonis. 7-1 hotspots from both corners, release on very quick, more than capable of holding it down for you at the center position. I just think you're going to see cards on this list that are just better than Domantas Sabonis, and that's okay. Domantas Sabonis at number 10 is absolutely fine. The other Sabonis, Arvydas Sabonis, coming in at number 9. Here's the differences. Domantas Sabonis is going to be a little bit faster. Arvydas Sabonis is 7'3". Release-wise, Arvydas, Robert Williams base, Kyle Anderson upper on very quick. Domantas Sabonis has a little different release. Both releases are A-okay. Who do I like more? I think I slightly prefer Arvydas Sabonis just for the fact that he is 7'3". You can't make up height in this game. Height is, in my opinion, the single most important thing on this game, as it basically is every single year. That and speed. And Arvydas Sabonis is 7'3" with a 75 speed rating. And I know you guys might be like, well, Ty, Domantas Sabonis has a higher speed. And I know, you're right. I'm not going to sit here and act like you're not right. But with that being said, it's a matter of 10 speed points for 2 inches of height. Really is preference based. Plus, Arvydas Sabonis has a 95 3 ball, going to shoot the absolute lights out. Both cards are fine for what they are, coming in at my 9 and 8. At my number 7, we got to save him. We're plugging in Galaxy Opal Alonzo Mourning. So, kind of a complete opposite here of Arvydas and Domantas, right? Arvydas and Domantas both are relatively tall, both going to get the job done at a pretty high level. For Alonzo Mourning, he's a little different. Like, Alonzo Mourning is going to be a card that defensively is going to be absolutely elite. On the offensive end of the court, going to struggle a little bit. When you're I know his height isn't necessarily what you want at the center position, and I'll talk about that too. 6'10", basically every defense badge in the entire game, most of them on Hall of Fame. Shooting-wise, comes with limitless range, only an 86 3 balls, but the Shaquille O'Neal jump shot. That's the one that I don't necessarily know about when we're looking at Alonzo Mourning. And I like Alonzo Mourning. I think he's one of the more complete guards in the entire game. But the Shaquille O'Neal jump shot, I do think is going to hold him back a little bit. Normal leaner, Kobe dribble style. I don't necessarily hate Alonzo Mourning. To me, it's just tough for me to hype him up. When obviously we've got Arvydas. Obviously, we've got Domantas, who are, at the very least, going to be taller guys that are going to be able to shoot the ball better. So, I do like Alonzo Mourning for what he is. He's more of my type of center compared to Domantas and Arvydas. But you can really debate it any which way you want. Marc Gasol coming in at my number 7. And I know you guys are going to be like, what? Marc Gasol, he's a free locker code. Yeah, and I'm going to hype him up like he is so. Because the card is really, really, really solid. Compare stats, badges to Domantas or Arvydas. You're going to be impressed. The only thing I'm not the biggest fan of for Marc Gasol, number 1, he's only 6'11". That's obviously not great. Number 2, his release is quicker than a guy like Alonzo Mourning. So I don't want you guys to sit up here and say I'm saying he has a bad release, because that's not what I'm saying. But I do feel like sometimes I struggle to green with the Marc Gasol release. Now, whether that's my fault, whether Marc Gasol just has a rough release, I don't know. I don't know what the correct answer is there. But I will say, the Marc Gasol base on very quick. Once you get the hang of it, once you figure it out, it is a relatively solid release. Can't really dribble that well, but at the end of the day, guys, he's going to be a center that can at least hold it down for you on the court. Can also play power forward if you need him to. And again, he was a free lock code. So even if you typed in this locker code, got him however long ago, he can still play it to this day. At my number 6, Galaxy Open Dwight Howard. People were asking me, Ty, where do you really rank Dwight? And I think he's better than Marc Gasol. Honestly, I think he's better than Alonzo Mourning, the Sabonis, Artis, and Domantas. But there's a limit to how high you can be on a guy like Galaxy Open Dwight Howard. And it's relatively simple to understand and to explain. The problem is he has a low 3-ball with a horrible release. And I'm not trying to sit here and harp on how bad the Dwight Howard release is. But normally I feel like I can green with basically everybody in the game. And I took 5 threes with Dwight Howard. Now, most of them were when he was tired, so maybe I could blame it on that as well. But I just literally could not figure out how to green with Dwight Howard. I could not figure it out. Now, again, blame me, blame Dwight. I don't really care. But that's why he can't be any higher. Defensively, he's 6'10", has such a wide player model player build that, it's great. Honestly, it's great. His player build is fantastic. But I do feel like when I struggle to shoot with a card, that's a problem. That's a problem. And obviously, my first game with Glenn Rice, I struggled as well. So you guys can maybe say that. But Dwight's a struggle that I don't know if I'll ever figure out. So for me, he's fine at number 6. At my number 5, we're plugging in Artis Gilmore Galaxy Open. Now for Artis, here's what you guys got to understand. He is 7'2", so not quite as tall as Domantas. But man, on the defensive end of the court, he is so impactful. Now, here's the deal with Artis. Here's the reason I don't run Artis anymore. I could not consistently green with Artis Gilmore. Now, maybe it's a matter, and I had a +4 3-ball. I had obviously a coach. Maybe it's a matter of, I don't play the game enough, so I play a lot. But maybe it's a matter of I just never got comfortable with Artis. I don't know. Because honestly, with after a coach, a 73, 74 3, with all those shooting badges, off a dimer, I should be able to agree with it. But I struggled sometimes. Defensively, though, he's one of the best centers I've used. And I've used a lot of great defensive centers. So don't sit up there and say I haven't. He's one of the best I've used. It just comes down to the simple fact of, are you going to green consistently with Artis or not? That's ultimately, in my opinion, what it comes down to. For me, I struggle just a little too much. But still, I have such high praise for this card. I think his release is better than a lot of the other cards on this list. 7'2". For 126,000 MT, he is an absolute steal. At my number 4, gotta include him because he was free, Galaxy Opal Wilt Chamberlain. I never got Wilt Chamberlain. Didn't get him for free. I didn't. I wasn't lucky enough to get him for free. I didn't obviously buy him when he was, $20. I don't think he was worth that. But if you got Wilt Chamberlain, he's one of the best centers in the game. I have to include him on this list because if you got Wilt for free and you don't see him on a list like this, you're probably like, what are you doing, Ty? So had to include Wilt here. I don't know. Obviously, his 3-ball is not super high. His release is kind of weird. But on the defensive end of the court, there's not many better than what Wilt does. 7'1", such a wide player model player, but can knock down shots at a higher level than Artis. To me, he's kind of somewhat he's not exactly the same as Artis, but somewhat similar to Artis. You just got to know who you personally want to prioritize. I do think Wilt Chamberlain is better than Artis Gilmore. At my number 3, David Robinson. Another card that was free for a couple of weeks before 2K decided to put all of these cards behind a sad paywall. So, it's what it is. I mean, you got to include them on this list. D-Rob, to me, will always have a special place in my heart. Even the Diamond D-Rob guys, I personally absolutely love. So, even in like salary cap sometimes, I'll just use the Diamond D-Rob because he's a guy I can trust to knock down shots. I like his player model player build. A guy I just trust on the court is the best way to phrase it for David Robinson. So, obviously, Galaxy Opal D-Rob, I've never actually gotten the chance to use him because, again, I didn't get him when he was free. I don't want to spend $20 or so on the card. So, obviously, free D-Rob at number 3 is fantastic. At my number 2, Galaxy Opal Hakeem Olajuwon. Again, another card that was available in the pack market. So I gotta hype him up. You know, I gotta talk about him. Not necessarily hype him up, but I gotta definitely talk about him. Now, Hakeem is a card I personally got, and I got him for free somehow. I think whether it was an exchange pack, whatever it was, I got the card for free. And to me, he's still one of the best centers in the game. Now, maybe I put him over D-Rob and Wilt because I personally have the card, I've used the card, and I know firsthand how good the card can be. But I think the big thing for Hakeem that I personally love is he's got the Pro 2 leaner. I'll be the first one to tell you his catch and shoot jump shot is kind of weird. It's not one that I necessarily love or trust on the court. But he's got a Pro 2 leader. And in times that it's actually tough to score, Hakeem can kind of be a bailout. You get him the ball. Nobody's expecting you to take a fade with Hakeem. You take that fade, and normally it is green for Hakeem Olajuwon. So that's one side of Hakeem that I definitely do enjoy using and kind of, you know, abusing. The Pro 2 leaner, the best leaner in the entire game. At my number one, same as the power forward list, the best center in the game right now, Dark Matter Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, if you missed out on salary cap, I got 2 words for you. Maybe 3. Depends if you want an apostrophe or not. I'm sorry. Or I am sorry. You know, you choose. But I'm sorry, guys. I'm absolutely sorry if you missed out on this card. Best part about him is his release. It's the best part about him. Dikembe obviously has a good frame. Obviously, defensively, he's going to be fine. Supposedly, including myself, people are struggling rebounding with Dikembe. We'll have to figure that out. But the Malachi Flynn base on very quick. He's 7'2". He's got every defensive badge in the entire game. What is there not to like about Dikembe? If you want a card that can go out there and compete against the gambling cards of the world, let's pull them up. If you want a guy that can go out there and compete against Yao, Dark Matter Wemby, Tim Duncan, Kareem, this is the card to do it. The rest of these cards are okay, but not quite that level. Dikembe is that top tier level in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Let me know your thoughts on my top 10 center list down below in the comments. Who was I too high on? Who was I too low on? Anybody I missed out on? Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new. As always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.